Okay, so I'm testing the host mic now. Test one, two, three. And you can test your mic.
Hi.
Hello, and welcome to Journeys to College and Beyond. We talk a lot about the college search on this podcast and how that journey looks different for everyone. Finding the right place for you and making that transition between high school and college can be challenging, but what happens if you change your mind? Transfer students make up 13% of enrollment at four-year institutions in the U.S., and today we're talking with one of those students. We're here with Anjiya. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
So Anjiya, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So my name is Anjiya. I'm currently a junior at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, majoring in political science with minors in legal studies and business. So very heavily on the pre-law track at this point. And yeah, I'm super excited to be talking with you today.
We're so happy to have you. So yeah, welcome to our podcast. We're a young project, so yeah, we really appreciate having you.
Yes, of course. It's super exciting, and I'm really glad that there's going to be this avenue for even high schoolers to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned a little bit about what you're doing here in school. It's like kind of a full plate.
Yes. Yeah, it is a lot. So this semester I have like a variety of different responsibilities that I've got going on. I'm currently interning at the Champaign County Public Defender's Office.
Wow.
And that's really just something that aligns with my pre-law focus. It's given me a lot of experience. Also, I just started, so I'm not as immersed into the position just now, but I'm really excited for that. I get to work in the courthouse, so it's exciting. Yeah. I obviously work at the admissions office, so that's also super exciting.
Yeah.
What else? Gosh, I'm also a TA for this business administration course that also takes up a good amount of time. And yeah, I'm just also involved in a couple registered student organizations, so it's fun, it's interesting, and I'm
Wow.
So that's
lots of stuff going on in your life.
Yep.
Sounds pretty well-rounded too.
I try. I feel like as a transfer student, so I went to community college before, and I just feel like I had no experience there whatsoever. There weren't any avenues for internships for me, no like research opportunities even, or like being able to be a teaching assistant for a professor. And so I feel like when I got here, I was like, I want to be immersed in this sort of setting so much. And I want to take on maybe any and all different prospects that I have for myself as a pre-law student. So I feel like I definitely jumped in headfirst into that last semester. I am pretty glad that I did, though, because I feel like it's given me a lot. It's like a lot of experience that I've gained. So while it is like a lot, I feel like it's a good problem to be busy than not to be busy. So I'm glad that I've got that going.
Yeah, that's a good attitude. And, diving in at first, I completely agree. Like, there's no time like the present to get involved.
Right.
So you mentioned how you are a transfer student. What made you decide to transfer?
Yeah, so there was a couple different things that I was really thinking of when I was transferring. I just knew that I did want to transfer just as a student at a community college. I feel like that wasn't gonna give me enough that, I could have maybe gone into the real world and gotten a full-time job with that. So that was definitely always on my mind that I did want to transfer, since I'd only done a year of high school in the US. So really the whole process of transferring was always on my mind. And I think I took community college as like just baby steps because I just moved to the US. It was just so foreign to me with applying for colleges even. I had no idea what that whole process was like. But yeah, that was really my process.
Yeah, for sure.
Applying.
So what do you think was the most challenging aspect of the actual process of transferring, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think I doubted myself a lot throughout that process. I didn't really seek help. I never toured U of I, even though I wish I had. I wish I'd spoken to like admissions representatives that we have, or admissions counselors, they do like a fantastic job with that. And I think that was definitely something that I was really scared about. I was like, U of I is a huge school. We're also like relatively selective, like I would definitely say. So that was something that I was thinking of a lot, and I was doubting myself in terms of like, am I even going to get in? I'd applied to like maybe 2 other places that I'd gotten into, but U of I was the last college to accept me. So that was a little bit more stressful, but I think those were like some of the adversities that I'd faced throughout my
Yes,
application process.
completely. Is there anything you kind of mentioned this, but do you feel like there's anything specific you would have done differently
Yeah.
about the transfer process?
Okay, so I said before that I already knew that I wanted to transfer.
Right.
But I was already on the track of like checking if all my courses would transfer over. Like transferology was my number one most used tab on my laptop. But I think something that I wish I could have done more was like reach out to people for help.
Yeah.
That's really not something that I did at all. I wish I'd just written an email to somebody like an admissions counselor and been like, hey, this is my situation. I've been at community for like this time, and I want to know if I'm even a good fit for this university, if like I have a strong chance of being a pre-law student here. So I think that's really something that I wish I would have done. I wish I'd toured this university as well, just knowing how large it was would have helped me out in my transition. So
It's a big school
it's huge.
for sure.
Yeah.
At what point did you transfer?
So I did 2 years at community.
Okay.
And then after that I got my associates, and then I was like, this is probably where I should transfer. Just because I had family also, like family members who had transferred over, so I kind of had that process in my mind. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like you came in as a sophomore junior.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And then I got here and I was like, there's a million other things that I could be doing. And I just don't think that 2 years is going to be enough for me. And so I stretched that out by a year. And I was like, I feel like, taking the LSAT as a pre-law student, that was something that was on my mind. I was like, there's no way that I'm going to get acclimated with the college culture here of like being so like, on the go always.
Yeah.
Preparing for the LSAT, finding my way around this place, making friends here, which was also such an ordeal initially for me. So I think that was really my mindset throughout that.
The social aspect. I mean, we talked a lot about like the technical, like academic kind of aspect and how you come to making a decision like transferring. But yeah, that social aspect, man. That one is like no small feat. Like it takes a lot of like bravery. I don't know if it's lame to say, but yeah, it takes like bravery to like make that transition again because you just did it from high school to college. Switching again, it can be hard to uproot yourself like that. How have you built community or found opportunities and friends and things like that?
Yeah, of course. So I had really no friends when I came here. I didn't know anybody from my hometown who had gone here. Maybe that was because like I hadn't spent too much time at my high school to make as many friends. But I think something that really helped out was just the mindset that I had of involving myself in student organizations, really just branching out to people that maybe like were on the similar path as mine. So I really took my track as a pre-law student as my first way of navigating the social aspect of my time here as well, which helped out really like professionally and also socially. So I remember attending, like this was my first week of being a student here. I attended this like pre-law meet and greet of like different RSOs that I could have met. And there was like a panel almost of all the different pre-law orgs. And I just got to see all the different ones that are offering like a rush cycle. So I rushed one of them. Thank God I got in. I got a bid for one of them. So I'm in a pre-law fraternity. And I think that's something that's helped me out socially a lot. I think I've made like some of my like bestest, my lifelong friends through that fraternity. So I think that's something that's helped out a lot. And then I think just like like not being afraid to ask somebody like, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? Like, I know it's been a while since we even spoke. Like, if you know somebody who's a distant friend of yours, or like you have mutuals in the middle, like you could always just be like, hey, you know, do you want to grab a coffee? So I think it's just like stepping out of that shell that you create for yourself, involving yourself in student orgs that have students who, you know, align with the same passion as yours, or maybe even just being brave enough to text someone and be like, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? Those are some of the things that I did that I feel like definitely helped me out.
Totally. I like what you said. It's kind of two-part. People always say, I feel like, when they're asked that question, like, how did you make friends? Like, you seem to be so involved and you seem so solid. You know, a lot of the people respond with, like, I was not like this.
Yeah.
You know, even a handful of months or semesters ago or whatever it is. So it's definitely like a process. But I like what you said of putting yourself out there, being brave, reaching out, all of those things. Like, it does take some courage to put yourself out there and get involved or meet new people. But it's also just start with what you know. Like, you have common ground with people. This is a big place, like, especially on a college campus.
Oh, yeah.
You've got interests. You've got things that make you unique. So just start there. And then you can find people that are, you know, they share that with you.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And that's a good foundation for a friendship anyway.
Yeah, I think so. I think with that, it's like, even with the friends that I do have, like, through my fraternity, like, we're doing this internship together. So it's like we, you know, sometimes we'll take classes together. I'm enrolled with one of my bestest friends. Oh my gosh, she's like my sister. We're taking this class together this semester, and I don't think I could do it without her.
Yeah.
So I'm super glad that I've got her. And then, you know, just friends that you make through part-time jobs that you have, or like friends that you make through student organizations, that like really helps out in the long run as well, especially if you have that foundation of having similar interests. So
totally. People use the word networking a lot, and I feel like it gets this reputation of kind of self-serving, maybe, knowing someone to get to a certain job or a certain place or whatever it is. But I don't know, I feel like it can look like many things, and one of them is what you're describing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's something to keep in mind. Networking doesn't have to be scary or
or like have a negative connotation. Yeah,
totally. So we touched on this a little bit, but what do you think is the biggest difference between your experience here and your previous institution?
I think U of I is maybe a million times bigger than the institution I was at before. I think with the certain ways that you can get involved, it's very different. It's different in terms of academics as well. Like, I feel like U of I is very, like, go. Like, you have to always know what you're doing. Like, time is...
Quick pace.
Yes, very, very quick pace. Yeah, that was the word.
Super. No, I know what you're saying. I felt I went here as well, so yeah. I felt that for sure.
Yeah, I think those were, like, some of the main differences for me. Just, like, space, like, how huge it is and how you have to be very independent here. And also just like how you always have to know what you're doing, and like everything has to be like, I live by my Google Calendar.
Yeah.
And like I will try to have everything plugged on there, but no, like I think time management is everything here.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're doing also, and just like, you know, having a set schedule for the day after that you have. So I think those are some of the differences that I faced.
Completely agree. We talked about this in a previous episode. One of the biggest differences between high school and college is the time management thing that you're talking about, because your schedule is so different every day. And then as soon as you kind of figure it out, it's a new semester, you have all new classes,
literally.
And it's constantly moving. So scheduling is a really important skill.
Yep. No, it's everything.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I'll slip up.
Sure, of course.
You know, like that happens every now and then also. But I think it's just important to know that you've got certain responsibilities, and like as long as you're getting them done, I think you're good. So
yeah, just like everyone slips up.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, scheduling like time for yourself is important too.
Yes. Yeah. That is actually so true. I think like I was looking over at my Google Calendar throughout the months over winter break, and I was like, at no point do I have time for myself plugged in anywhere. Like, there's going to be a million things that I'm getting done throughout a day, but there's like, at no point have I jotted down at least like 15 minutes that I take out for myself to like journal or like doodle or like anything like that. So I think that's also something that's really important in college. Just like you get so like stuck into the rhythm of everything that you're doing, but it's also really important to just take time out for yourself also.
For sure. What's your like preferred way to kind of get some me time in?
I'm a napper through and
Yeah,
through.
we love sleep.
Yeah. So I can get like a power nap in. I'm gonna do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
College is built on power naps, you guys.
Yeah.
It's probably like something I shouldn't say, but
yeah,
it's like a huge part
it
of
is.
the college culture because like, is your schedule something where you have like an 8 a.m. class and you don't get home until like late at night?
I try to skip 8 a.m.s at any cost. Like there was this course that I really wanted to take this semester, and the only time that it was being offered was at 9:30. And I was like, I can't even function for myself at that point. So I also try to give myself that buffer in the mornings that I can just like get ready for myself and have that time frame. So I feel like that's something that I do to help myself out. But I think like a certain way that I like try to make time out for myself other than just like napping or like taking time out with my friends to just hang. It's also just like, you know, just staying at home or like reading a book. Just like staying at home is so important.
We love
as well
our home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you live on campus or off campus?
So I live on campus. I live on Green, so everything is in very close proximity for me. But I think transport is also something that takes up so much time because this university is enormous. Like, it takes me 18 minutes to get from my apartment to this office every day when I have work here. Yeah. So it's a walk, but yeah.
Yeah, how do you get around? Do you just walk everywhere?
I walk, like predominantly. I'll try to take the bus. I took the bus yesterday just because it was insane. It was freezing yesterday.
Yes,
but
it's winter right now. So definitely understandable.
Yeah.
In your college search, what was the most important thing to you in selecting a school?
Okay. Yeah, I think like a couple things that I took into consideration was the certain type of networking opportunities that I'd get.
Right.
I took into consideration, so there was this one college in downtown Chicago that I was really considering. It was a lot more expensive, so that was a downside for me. But another thing that I thought of was like, yes, while I'm in the city, like, is the program of pre-law as good as it would be at U of I? Like, I also have cousins who've gone here and like have also majored in poli-sci, so I knew that it would be great with networking, you know, getting involved in these RSOs that I'm talking about, but also just like having like an advising office. We have one of those for I think every department. Like your academic advisor is always your go-to for that also, but we have like a specific office for pre-law students, and it's called the Pre-Law Advising Services Center. And I think that's something that I researched on, and I was like, wait, that would help me out so much. So I looked at that. I looked at obviously like how large the university is. Like we say this at the admissions office so much. It's like it's easy to make like a large university feel smaller, but you can't make a small university feel large for you.
That is so true.
You know, like you can have a jam-packed schedule and everything feels so condensed and like you're in your own little bubble, but I don't think I'd have the same experience if I went to like a private college. So
yeah,
I took those things into consideration a lot, where I was like, you know, money was definitely a factor, right? As it is for any student. But I was also like, am I gonna be able to get a lot of opportunities out of this? And so that was something that was on my mind.
It's kind of all about finding the balance that works for you between all those things.
Yeah.
Cost, access to opportunities, program, like if you know what you want to study.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't know what I wanted to study when it came time to commit to a school. I was like, I don't know, I'm between a couple things.
Yeah.
That's another benefit of going to a larger institution is you have options to explore all those opportunities.
True.
You can figure it out along the way without feeling like you're behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just fit, vibe, you know, size. It's important to at least, if you don't have the ability to visit a campus that you're interested in person, there are ways to get a feel for the vibe through things like their social media, their websites, you know, simple stuff like seeing if they have a YouTube channel, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do any, you mentioned some research that you did.
Yeah. I looked into their social medias, of course. I was like, let me just look at certain pictures that they're posting. So the quad was plastered or over our social media, which like, of course. But yeah, no, I saw so many pictures of the main quad. I think there was like certain interviews that are posted on the YouTube channel as well that I watched, and I thought that they were like a lot more genuine. And it was like, it wasn't like, oh, these are just some things that we want to advertise. It was like students like genuinely talking about their experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe like an internship that they'd gotten an offer for throughout their time here, because of like certain experiences that they've had. So I think that is something that I looked into, but I wish I'd done more research with that, with like, actually coming down to Champaign from Glenview. That's like the suburb that I'm from. So I was like, actually coming down here would have helped out a lot. But I think I did do my research with just like their social media.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
And the vibes were good.
Yeah, the vibes were awesome. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So if someone out there is listening to this and they are thinking about transferring, they're on the fence about transferring, they're in that kind of point where they're making that decision, what would you say to them to help them out?
Yeah, I would say that if you're like even thinking of transferring, that's a sign that you probably should. But I think my biggest advice would be just like do your research on the type of program that you want to do and what university you want to do it at. Like I said before, like that's something that I also looked into. I was like, yeah, like pre-law would be amazing here, but like it's so far away, right? Like Champaign is just really far away from me. And like having had gone to community college, it was like I'm so used to just taking my car to my college. So it was like that was definitely something that I was looking into. Like think of if you'd be okay with settling down a little bit further away, or if you want to be in the city, or maybe what type of college that you want to be attending, like what type of culture it has with, treating students if they are big on like taking mental health days.
Yeah. The distance factor is important to point out.
Yeah.
Like that one is tricky because you could easily find a program that has all of the things that you want and strikes that perfect balance. But, maybe it's really far away.
Yeah.
How did you overcome that issue?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that was the process for me. I think I just had to understand that it was the best option for me as like, given my position as a pre-law student, I knew that I wanted to be in a setting that would be very immersive. So I really just had to weigh in my benefits at that point and just say that students go far away for college all the time, and with that, like I've learned so many different skills. Like we were talking about time management. I don't think that I could learn anything like that if I was still in the four walls of my like very comforting house where I have like all these things handed over to me. Here it's a lot more independent. You have to be doing things yourself. Like doing your laundry is such a responsibility here. I don't think people talk about that enough. Like you really need to take time out to get your laundry done. So yeah, I don't know why, but that's
there's a learning curve of living by yourself.
It is. It is. And doing your laundry just helps out with that. But
that's good advice.
Yeah, right.
Get all out the laundry.
Yeah. No, it's huge. So I think that would just be like my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, totally. And then there's also like the kind of relationship management aspect of like moving away from your family.
Yes.
Keeping in touch, like
that
visiting.
Is so true.
It's hard.
Yeah. No, I think that's, you know what? That's actually something that I do struggle with. I'm the type of person that if I'm far away from you, I might not be able to give you as much time. But like if I'm with you, then I'm kind of forced to give you my time.
It sounds terrible, but it's a bit of a proximity thing. It's like it's not out of sight, out of mind, but it's easy to fall off with certain things, I guess. Yeah.
And it's not even like something that you do intentionally where you're like, oh, no, I don't want to talk to this person anymore. But it's like, it's just seriously, it's so hard to.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to find time to be like, yeah, like I want to, like, let me call this person. But like, then it depends on if they're free or not. And then
it's hard to make it impromptu.
Yeah.
When you're not like spending time with them face to face.
Yeah.
On the daily.
So. No, 100%.
Yeah. Do you go home for like holidays and stuff at least?
I try. Spring break and like fall break, Thanksgiving, like I will definitely be home for that. But I'm actually not somebody who goes home as often.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of friends who will go home for like the weekends.
Yeah.
Randomly. And I'm like, I could never do that because I feel like there's just so much that I'm involved in here that I forget that I'm even like, you know, like I have a home elsewhere also.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely something that I struggle with, or maybe not even struggle with. Like I just don't think that I could take the time out for that. But like larger breaks that we have for like, you know, spring break, I'm definitely going to be going home. But no, I don't go home over the weekends.
Yeah.
I don't.
Everyone figures it out in their own way. It's actually so interesting. Like I know in college I had a roommate who it felt like almost every weekend she was going to try to go home to her family. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, it's easy to question yourself, you know, you can compare yourself all day long and feel any kind of way about it. But, you know, the nice thing about college is your breaks are so much longer than like in high school. So
true.
You get to make up for that time.
That is true.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. It's so different, college and high school.
It's really different.
And community college.
Yes.
Large institutions like this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So do you have any last minute advice that you would give to prospective students that are just in that navigating life after high school vibe?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say just take it one step at a time. I feel like I've gotten to speak to a lot of transfer applicants who are just like, yeah, like I don't like where I'm at right now. And like, I just think that U of I would be better for me. And like, yeah, that's amazing to think of because like, yeah, like it would be better. But just take it one step at a time. And the transfer process is just so hard altogether because you're already, you've got your foot in the door of being a college student, but then you know you're going to have to start afresh when you go to another institution, you know. So I think that's something that I was also struggling with, where I was like, am I going to be able to do it? Am I going to be able to start all over again, make like a new set of friends?
Yeah.
So I would say like take it one step at a time, and you know, this process unfolds itself. So yeah, I would just say like take it easy, but also just stay on top of your stuff with applying. Talk to an admissions counselor. Also just explain your situation very transparently and be like, yeah, this is the point where I'm at and I just want any and all help that you could provide me with. So I think that would be my advice.
Totally. Very wise words. Don't be too hard on yourself. Things are hard, but you can do hard things.
Yeah.
Just be honest with yourself on like
so
what's
true.
right for you.
Yeah.
Totally. Wow, Anjiya, thank you so much for chatting with this. I'd love to have you back sometime. So,
of course.
Amazing. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.